Take 3 deep breaths, please. And thank you for being here. This is a very important activation to come forth. It's very monumental, actually. And I'm going to be present in terms of being in the receptive mode to receive the accurate wisdom and insight and guidance for this activation. The general premise of this monumental or monumentous activation is all about this new era that we're in, and this is the era of individuality illumination. And this is the time where each individual will have the higher illumination of examination for how they move forward with their lives. And so as I'm being present to receive the wisdom for the activation, what I'm being guided to share is to provide a little bit more context around this era. So something I want to bring up, or that I'm being guided to bring up, is that based on some things that I have actually shared with other individuals and mentioned that the time would be coming where each person was going to have to do an examination and an inventory of themselves like never before. And so during the time where everyone was trying to point fingers at everyone else and look at whose slip was hanging and shine the light on all types of different things, but yet missing the opportunity to do their own examination. Now, with that being said, that does not mean that the examination that has been done on others is all in error or inaccurate. Could be very much true. But there's been the time where, even with that, the opportunity to take an extreme look at who you are and who you're being. And I know most are thinking, well, I do that. I'm examining myself regularly, but yet there are things outside of me that I see going on that are certainly unjust. And there's no need to put your head in the sand and call it something other than what it is. And this is not what this is about. Because being able to call things as they are, in a sense, and in truth, it certainly has its place. But there's been an overlooked aspect within each individual. And this is the time where that higher illumination will be taking place. And especially as older systems and older paradigms that do not serve the highest good are going out, individuals are now coming into their higher truth trajectories, which is going to bring that illumination and cause those required shifts to take place. I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath, please. So with that awareness, those of you who have been in the higher awareness space or higher consciousness space, this is a time where your examples will be very much needed, but also in your era of your individuality illumination, you will be discovering more about your uniqueness and having that sort of refined in a way so that you can serve and lead your life from this higher truth trajectory. So it's really a leveling up for you, where for the masses, it will be that they will be examining themselves on levels like never before. And what happens during this time is even those who have been in denial and have participated in self-induced ignorance, this is going to be their final round to face the ultimate truth and awaken themselves from delusions and slumbers. But globally, this will be taking place. Each individual will be seeing the truth for what the truth really is. And then there's that call to the higher decision making. So the activation that wants to come forth in regards to anchoring and solidifying this is that this is the time where it's celebration in terms of the higher light being the truth trajectory that is the overtaking force within this universe. Take a deep breath, please. And so I sense that some type of training will possibly happen around this as well. Now, whether that is facilitated in this particular setting, or maybe that is provided at another time in another activation or so. Maybe there's a phase 2 of the activation, but I'm just being present. That's just some of the wisdom and insight that has been coming up. As you all know, those of you who have been participating in my activations know that they're not pre-planned. It's just very much in the moment of receiving the core theme and then being present to receive the wisdom and the insight of what to bring forth. So I'm doing that as of now, but I do know that it was important today specifically to activate this template in this trajectory of ushering in this era of that illumination coming forth. And I must say, I'm actually excited about it because we were put here to live out our ultimate truth, our divine purpose for being here. And with that, there's no time to be operating in anything other than the highest truth. And in order to understand that higher truth, there has to be the illumination. And that's what's taking place now. So take a deep breath, please. And with that being said, the space is open in sacredness and created at this moment for you to be present in the illumination of your truth. Take a deep breath, please. So let's be present in that higher awareness, knowingness, and receive the insight. So what is that for you during this time? What is that for you during this time? Take a deep breath, please. What needs to be illuminated for you? What needs to be illuminated for you? What do you need to turn or amp up the light on? What needs more examination? This can be in terms of your greatness and also some things that maybe are not so great, but habits or different things that you have to look at. It's just an overall examination, no judgment. Take a deep breath, please. And a more empowering question to ask yourself is, my era of individuality, illumination, what does this consist of? What perception shifts do you need to have, or perception up levels? Again, what needs to be illuminated? So what's an area that you can stop looking at and pointing fingers or overly examining it, something outside of you, that you maybe can pull back on that and look more at who you're being, who you need to be, but also too, ultimately, how does your creative feel about how you're feeling? Take a deep breath, please. So before the activation gets anchored and we ground what has come up for you so far, what I'm being guided to do is really to actually move into sort of a mini training and to provide a grander context in terms of how you can best support yourself in the initiative of examination. And so giving some clarification in terms of the examination, as I mentioned, it's not about judging yourself. Even if you do happen to face some things about yourself that you don't necessarily desire, it's okay. The illumination is not here to shine the light to make you feel bad in any way. It is here to shine the light on truth. And that in your source brilliancy, you have to operate from that level. You're not here to be blinded to your greatness. So the illumination is just going to shine the light on that and bring you up higher. And though now with others, the light will be being shown on them, or shining, so to speak, and it will reveal things to them that will literally break their hearts and possibly crush them. You're not of that tribe. You can handle what's being shown because you know that in the midst, your greatness is being revealed. And it's just the shifts that you need to make so that you can align more with that higher truth trajectory of who you are. So this era of illumination in the individuality context will feel more like 1 or 2 decades of combined awareness around what was missed and what was emerging and still is emerging. So I need to provide a little bit more expanded awareness around that. So humanity has been in a position for quite some time where there's been a lot of behindness. In fact, at least a minimum of 50 years of a gap of evolution that has not been filled, so to speak. And what this process is doing for individuals is catching them up with their own evolution, but also revealing to them the evolution of humanity and having to make this huge, significant evolutionary leap in a very accelerated way. And within that reveals the truths that many are not wanting to accept, reveals the truth that many were not aware of. But it ultimately is the higher luminous liberator, if you will, the truth that sets you free. It is whom the Son sets free is free indeed. It is the higher way, truth, and the light. The illumination brings forth all of that. It shines bright where the context of the grander awakening and what is required cannot be missed. It would take much effort in order to really miss this, which means, in a more candid sense, there's no hope. That person would be beyond human aid. That is not you. That is not you. So in this examination process and being awake, there are three things that you need to know in terms of how to level up the illumination factor for yourself. And I'm being just present to receive those three things. And so before actually sharing it, something that I am guided to share, going back to what I mentioned about being able to focus on your higher truth. This is the time where, just as in the Bible, where Jesus said, let the wheat and the tares come up together. The separation will be done at the right time, the wheat and the chaff. The separation will be done at the right time. There are a lot of things that are going on in the world and around you, things that you can't control, but you can control you. And within that is continuing to examine yourself, not necessarily looking away from all of the things that are going on, especially things that concern you and you do have a voice and need to participate in by being divinely guided to do so. But just do not become extreme during these times, because the extreme takes the focus off of you aligning with your higher truth and then looking to an individual or a situation outside of your control and trying to mold that and shape that into what would fit you to be most comfortable, even if it is the right thing. But this is not the time. The time is that you have to be more focused on the higher truth of you, and that is Source's truth. That is what God's truth is for you, and be led by that and governed by that higher level of truth. So the first thing that you need to know about this era of individuality illumination is that this is the illumination of your source self. And this aligns you with your ultimate truth trajectory. The illumination of source, when you are operating from source, this higher illuminate state of source, you can't be out of alignment or even seeing things from a faulty lens. You see them through the eyes of higher truth. And again, seeing through the eyes of higher truth does not necessarily mean that that is a comfortable thing to always witness, no matter what schools of thoughts or certain paradigms try to offer to say source is only this one way, pure positive energy, all these. No, you're going to see some things even through the eyes of source that are not pleasing to you. But you will have a call and the charge to amp up the light within you and see things the way that Source does see and perceive those situations. And then you will be guided to operate as Source in those situations. And the second thing that you need to know about this era of individuality illumination is that the higher authentic expression of you comes forth in a greater context of a life purpose. Your mission and purpose cohesively being one and the same of the lifestyle that you're here to demonstrate, and also the career or the mission, so to speak. It all becomes one. And the illumination of your truth will provide you with the context of how to set up these new structures and frameworks for this cohesive experience. Take a deep breath, please. And the third thing that you need to know about this era of individuality illumination, and this is going to probably shock a lot of you, but some of you not. This is the time of the higher Christ truth template to be most illuminate worldwide. The illumination that will be revealed is the higher truth. And most are going to be shocked that that higher truth also is not confined to the truth templates that have been given in religious formats. And what's going to happen is the individuality of the Christ within will be awakened and activated through a unique encoding, which is within each and every individual, and those who align with that awakening will come into that higher illumination. And that is ultimately what will cause them to shine bright as the sun, so to speak, and be the source trajectory demonstrators of this era. Let's sit with that. Take a deep breath, please. And you think about it. This world can't exist without the sun. So when the sun is shining bright in and through each and every higher truth trajectory participant, that's what changes the world at large. That's what changes humanity. That's what catches humanity up with their evolution, is the recognition of that truth and activation that takes place. Take a deep breath, please. And so again, in saying that, this is not tied to any traditional structures of religion. This is about the ultimate truth. So I'm just going to be present. And so on the awareness of those three things that you most need to know, the training that comes forth for you to create your own unique now individuality template and sort of roadmap and game plan for yourself as it relates to all that was shared within this space, which ultimately means that you will have to go back and re-listen to this and be able to extract more of the higher awareness and truths out, and answers that you need to help you be guided to make the best informed decisions and master planning for this initiative. But I repeat that this is the time again for the higher self examination. Take a deep breath, please. And so now I'm going to take what has been cultivated in this space and also the things that came up for you, the highest forms of truth. Now bring forth the trajectory of the illumination for individuality in this era. And we activate this, activate it as a whole, activate it as a trajectory. Activate this in love. And we are complete. Thank you.